the first woman in this office, I will not be the last.
Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us this evening to celebrate Women's History Month. There are so many women throughout history, such as the ones in the video we just watched, who not only inspire us every day, but they have fought to protect and expand the rights of women in this country. I'm Lottie Shackelford, the DNC Women's Caucus Chair, and I'm so excited to be welcoming you to the DNC's Women's History Month's virtual event. Today and every day, we continue to celebrate women and their contributions to our country. We kicked off this month of March with Vice President Kamala Harris and House Speaker Nancy Pelosi making history. It was the first time two women sat behind the President of the United States at a State of the Union address, and they won't be the last. We continue to see history being made as Judge Katanji Brown Jackson was nominated to the Supreme Court of the United States. A highly qualified jurist. Her nomination is all the more special because of its historic nature. When confirmed, she will become the first Black woman to sit on the United States Supreme Court. This is an important step towards making our country's highest court look more like the nation as a whole. And as we are reminded during last week's confirmation hearing, an important step to ensure that children everywhere can see themselves in every branch of our government. This milestone would not be possible without the dedication of so many women who have worked to make this day very possible. Thank you. Thank each and every one of you. We also honor the lives of the women who are no longer with us, like Madeleine Albright, an inspiration and pioneer for women globally. She was not only the first woman to be U.S. Secretary of State, but a lifelong champion of human rights and democracy. She was an inspiration to the generations of women and men alike. It is women like Secretary Albright who continue to inspire us to make changes in our future. And we are here to celebrate them and their achievements together. Sharing our stories and the stories of inspiring women who were some of our nation's first. First, like Shirley Chisholm, Patsy Mink, Catherine Cortez Masto, Deb Hyland, Rachel Levine, Hillary Clinton, and Vice President Kamala Harris. Their stories remind us of the importance of the work we're doing here today. It is our resilience, our strength, and our dedication that keeps us working to elect Democratic women up and down the ballot across this country. I, of the Women's Caucus, along with my fellow caucus chairs, Belle Long Hong of the AAPI Caucus, Virgie Rollins of the Black Caucus, Carrie Evelyn Harris of the Disability Caucus, Iris Martinez of the Hispanic Caucus, and Clara Platt of the Native American Caucus are doing just that, working each and every day to elect Democrats. Tonight, you will hear from a host of amazing women, party officers who are women, such as Vice Chair Governor Whitmer, Vice Chair Senator Duckworth, Vice Chair Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, and Treasurer Virginia Mcgregor. You will also hear other women women who are leading our party and our country. They're leading us forward each and every day. Alongside all of these women, I am so proud to call myself a Democrat. So, to begin our program tonight, I want to introduce our illustrious and dynamic DNC Chairman, Jaime Harrison, to deliver a few words to honor Women's History Month. Mr. Chairman, take it away.
Thank you, Ms. Lottie, for that kind introduction. And more importantly, thank you for your leadership of our Women's Caucus at the DNC. For those of you that don't know, Ms. Lottie has made quite a bit of history herself. And in honor of Women's History Month, I'd like to embarrass her a little bit and share some of her many accomplishments with all of you. Lottie Shackelford was the first woman to be mayor of Little Rock, Arkansas. She was the first Black woman to serve on the board of the Overseas Private Investment Corporation. And she's the longest serving DNC vice chair ever. She's just one of the many barrier-breaking women helping to lead the Democratic Party. From our treasurer, Virginia Mcgregor, to three of our vice chairs, Governor Whitmer, Senator Duckworth, and Mayor Bottoms, to our history-making vice president. The Democratic Party is full of women who are committed, impactful public servants and leaders. That's been true for quite a while. Despite the odds, despite previous efforts to keep them out, countless women have fought for and earned their place in our political system. To quote the great Shirley Chisholm, if they don't give you a seat at the table, bring a folding chair. That unbought and unbossed mentality is what has, time and again, allowed women to have a huge impact on the direction of our nation. There's so many examples. Just look at the 2020 election. Women, particularly women of color, were decisive in sending President Biden and Vice President Harris to the White House and helping Democrats win the House and the Senate. Women volunteers continue to help us reach voters across the nation. Women voters and women candidates will be the keys to our success in 2022. The House of Representatives is run by the first woman Speaker of the House in Nancy Pelosi. You know, when our government looks more like our nation, we all do better. When women are in the rooms where important decisions are affecting our communities, where they are being made, we all benefit. To the women on this call today, I encourage you to stay engaged. Your presence makes all the difference. Your leadership makes all the difference. Your example is more powerful than you may realize. You know, my friends, make no mistake, the Democratic Party will continue to champion women. The President's Gender Policy Council will continue to advance gender equity and equality at home and abroad. The Vice President will continue leading efforts to address the racial disparity in maternal health. The Biden-Harris administration, with the leadership of Secretary Haaland, will pursue justice for missing and murdered Indigenous women. Our commitment to reproductive freedom will be unwavering. We will continue to fight for good jobs and lower healthcare costs. We will continue to work to bring down energy and childcare costs and address the everyday needs of women across the nation. We've got a lot left to do, my friends, and I'm looking forward to doing it together. So thank you for everything that you do for the Democratic Party, and happy Women's History Month.
Hi, everybody. Wanted to wish everyone a happy Women's History Month. I appreciate the work that you all do on all of our behalf every single day. As we talk about Women's History Month, I always have to think, of course, first and foremost, of some of the strong women in my life. Both my grandmothers, Gretchen and Esther, which is my name, Gretchen Esther. I'm named after these phenomenal grandmothers that I had. I think about my mom, though. My mom she broke a number of her own glass ceilings. She was this brilliant lawyer who went to law school while she was raising my sister and my brother and me. She got more book awards in law school than any person ever had done at that point in time, and she's raising kids while she's doing it. She was an assistant attorney general here in Michigan, and she used to tell the story about how she was wearing her favorite color, which was fuchsia, to work, and a friend of hers said, you know, Sharon, you can't wear pink into court. And she said, fuchsia is my power color. And it's one of the things that I always remember about my mom, because she had a great sense of humor, a wonderful sense of style, but she was authentically herself in all things. And when women show up as we are, it is powerful and it is empowering. And so I'm grateful that I grew up in a household with some strong women. I certainly have got some strong, phenomenal colleagues across the country. A number of women governors like Michelle Lujan Grisham and Kate Brown. I think about my friends Janet Mills and Laura Kelly, and of course Kathy Hochul, who's now joined our ranks. And so happy Women's History Month to all those bold women who dare to wear fuchsia in court, or the ones who dare to lead by putting their names on the ballot, or the ones that are leading in households and in businesses and in communities all across our country. You make this world a better place.
Hi, everyone. As the Vice Chair of the DNC, it is an honor to join you and wish you all a happy Women's History Month. Each year, Women's History Month is an opportunity to reflect on the fearless, trailblazing women whose resilience and persistence broke down barriers and paved the way for the women after them to have greater opportunities throughout our nation's history. While there are so many women we should thank for the America we know today, I'd like to take a moment to remember the late Supreme Court Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg and all that she did to make my life possible. I might never have been able to serve in combat, command my own Army unit, or have my two beautiful girls through the miracle of IVF, if not for RBG's tireless work for equality. And today, it's on each of us to honor her legacy, whether by protecting reproductive freedom, protecting LGBTQ plus children, protecting the right to vote for every American against seamless, endless Republican attacks, or anything else. And while we may have a lot more work to do, I'm proud of everything Democrats have accomplished under President Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris, America's first VP woman ever, in spite of unprecedented, almost unanimous Republican obstruction. After getting the American Rescue Plan and the bipartisan infrastructure law in the books last year to boost our economy and rebuild our nation, Democrats aren't slowing down to lower costs and lift up working Americans across the country. Recently, President Biden signed the End Forced Arbitration Act into law, one of the most significant workplace reforms in decades. No longer will employees be forced to waive away their rights to seek justice in court. No longer will abusers be protected while survivors of sexual assault are silenced. It is long past time that we held abusers in the workplace accountable, and I'm proud that we got this done. We also passed our bipartisan funding agreement to lower costs for working Americans, deliver cleaner water for our children, fund our schools, bolster our infrastructure, and create jobs, while also finally reauthorizing the Violence Against Women Act to support survivors who have been through the unimaginable. This funding agreement will go a long way to help improve the lives of Americans all across our great nation. And now, even though Women's History Month is coming to a close, it is as important as ever to keep building on our progress and working to ensure that women have the support they need to thrive across the country. That means working to reduce everyday costs on things like healthcare, childcare, and the gas everyone needs in their tanks to get to work. It means finally guaranteeing equal pay for equal work, codifying Roe v. Wade into law, and much more. And while we can attribute so much of what we've managed to get done to Democrats' Senate majority, this past year has also proven that our razor-thin majority simply isn't enough. So let's be clear, if we're going to keep making progress on the issues that we care about, we need to protect and expand our Democratic majorities in the Senate and elect Democrats up and down the ballot across the country. We cannot let Republicans regain control of Congress and block policies that will hold back women, our economy, and our entire nation from fulfilling its potential. Under Democrats' leadership, imagine how many barriers will break if we give every woman an equal shot to succeed. Each and every one of you has done and will keep doing your part. I know that. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you and keep it up, because when women succeed, America succeeds. Happy Women's History Month.
Hi, I'm Keisha Lance Bottoms, Vice Chair for Civic Engagement and Voter Protection for the DNC, and also the former mayor of Atlanta, Georgia. It's my honor to wish you a happy Women's History Month. When I think of women whom have motivated me, there's so many women in my lives who've been such tremendous motivation for me. But one in particular is my Aunt Ruby Doris Smith Robinson, a person whom I never had the pleasure of meeting. She died before I was born at the age of 26. But she served as the executive secretary of SNCC. and she worked alongside Congressman John Lewis. And when I would mention her name to him, Congressman Lewis's eyes would well up with tears. He would tell me about her fierceness and her courage. He told me stories of their time together in jail in Rock Hill, South Carolina, of the time that they spent together in jail in Jackson, Mississippi. He talked about the freedom rides. She was indeed a courageous woman. Her stance on civil rights was not always well received. At one point, I'm told she was even asked to leave Spelman College. But what she did in such a short period of time has really changed the course of our history. I was told a story by Julian Bond of the time that they went to integrate Grady Hospital in Atlanta, Georgia. She went in and the charge nurse said, "Well, you don't look sick to me." And she made herself throw up on her desk and she said, "Is that sick enough for you?" And then I was told this story of them headed to Africa. Stokely Carmichael was leading a delegation. And they were told that they couldn't get on the plane. So my Aunt Ruby Doris Smith Robinson went and sat on the tarmac and said the plane was not leaving unless they were all on that plane. Well, I guess you know they made it to Africa. So while I didn't know Ruby Doris Smith Robinson, I know of what she stood for. And what she stood for was a woman of being a woman of great courage, a woman who was willing to risk it all to make the lives of others better. It's my hope this Women's History Month that we will be inspired by women like Ruby Doris Smith Robinson, Lottie Shackelford, and so many others to make sacrifices so that the lives of those who will come after us will be better for it. Thank you for allowing me to celebrate this Women's History Month with you. I'm encouraged by your fierceness and by your courage to make a difference in America.
Hello, and happy Women's History Month. I'm Virginia Mcgregor, and like many women, I have a lot of titles. Mom, grandmother, wife, business owner, board member, and DNC treasurer. As women, I believe that part of the reason we do so much is because we know that generations of women before us have worked so hard to provide us these opportunities. It's a legacy we carry with us proudly and never take for granted. I can see the generational change that took place even between me having 4 daughters and my granddaughter being born. Thanks to the hard work of women across the country, my granddaughter will never grow up in a country that is yet to elect a woman vice president of the United States. There are women on the Supreme Court and a woman serving as Speaker of the House. My granddaughter lives in a world where anything is possible for her, and that's thanks to all of you. The truth is, no one knows what the future holds, but we're out here trying to hold the line for the next generation and build a world with unlimited potential for our children and our grandchildren. Of course, there's more work to be done, and make no mistake, women will decide the upcoming midterm elections. We're out here every day, making our voices heard, standing up for equal rights, personal freedoms, and fighting for legislation that will support women and families everywhere. I know this work is tough, but I also know that anything is possible when we do it together. As women, we support each other's dreams, knowing that the decisions we make today will benefit the generations of tomorrow. I'm proud to stand shoulder to shoulder with all of you in this important work, and I thank you for being women who dream big and believe in better. Happy Women's History Month.
Thank you again to our vice chairs and treasurer for sharing what, and more importantly, who drives you to continue your tireless work for our party and our democracy. My name is Gabriella Christophel, and I am the Women's Coalition Director at the DNC. In this role, I am incredibly lucky to work for this amazing group of history-making women. I can confidently say that for so many of us working at the DNC and across the country, these women serve as inspiration. Now, they are not the only ones excited to celebrate this Women's History Month with you. Up next, we have more leaders here to wish you all a happy Women's History Month.
Hello, I'm Congressmember Judy Chu, and as the first Chinese American woman elected to Congress, I'm thrilled to be celebrating a number of other historic firsts this Women's History Month, like our first Asian, Black, and female Vice President, Kamala Harris, and the incredible Judge Katanji Brown Jackson, who is on her way to being the first Black woman on the U.S. Supreme Court. Not only have these women shattered glass ceilings, but they're paving the way for more women to follow. And that will help us all, because when women succeed, we all succeed. Happy Women's History Month.
I'm Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal, and I'm honored to represent Washington's incredible 7th District in the House of Representatives, where I also have the honor of serving as the chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. I am absolutely thrilled to be with you today as we celebrate Women's History Month. As the first South Asian American woman ever elected to the House of Representatives and one of less than 100 women of color to ever serve in Congress, I understand how important it is that we elect more women, especially women of color, to office, not only because it's reflective of the country we live in, but also because of the experiences and the perspectives that we bring to the table that help to shape better policy. That's why this month is so important, because it gives us a chance to honor the women who came before us and fought so hard for the progress we have already made, while at the same time lifting up our future generation of women leaders. This is a time for continued boldness, for reaching our arms out to support the courageous women who step up to run, knowing all the challenges that they will face, and for continuing to lift up the collective progress we can make when we come together and organize. Let's honor Women's History Month by doubling down even more on the progress that we will make together. Thank you so much, and stay strong.
Hello, DNC sisters. I'm Delaware Congresswoman Lisa Blunt Rochester, and I celebrate Women's History Month for 4 reasons. 1, gratitude for the pioneers and the sheroes who came before us. 2, inspiration, because when we're feeling frustrated, we remember them and we're motivated. 3, they provide roadmaps, paving the way in science, business, motherhood, from the Supremes, Judge Jackson, to becoming our MVP, Madam Vice President Kamala Harris. And they do it with an abundance of love. G for gratitude, I for inspiration, R for roadmaps, and L for love, which spells girl, because in the words of Beyonce, who runs the world? Girls. Happy Women's History Month.
Every Women's History Month, I can't help but reflect on how proud I was when I was elected in 2018 as part of the largest class of women and moms ever to serve in Congress. And it continues to be an honor for me each and every day to work alongside such incredibly strong women. And our policy priorities over the past few years are a clear reflection of what happens when women have a seat at the table. Whether we're talking about reducing prescription drug prices, making healthcare more affordable, childcare, paid family leave, making sure that we're increasing the minimum wage, reproductive rights, all of those policies have been policies that we will continue to fight as women members of Congress. And when women in Congress prove time and time again that when we are given a seat at the table, we can be critical change makers. And so I'm so excited to continue to work alongside all of the incredible women across this country and to reflect women's voices from Southern Nevada in Congress.
Hi, it's Congresswoman Sylvie Garcia from Houston, Texas. Women's History Month for me is about recognizing the part we play in history's relay race toward full equality. Whether you're like me, fighting for women's rights since my student days, or your first political act was showing up to the Women's March in 2017, all of us are valuable members of the movement toward passing the Equal Rights Amendment, getting equal pay for equal work, and making sure that all women, including immigrant women, have a shot at the American dream. La lucha sigue. Thank you for all you do. Si se puede. God bless.
Hi everybody, I'm Kim Schreier, first pediatrician ever in Congress and the only pro-choice woman doctor in Congress. That's important. Now, you want to know why Women's History Month is so important? You know what? I think it's a reminder that we are still making history, baby. So happy Women's History Month. Thanks.
Happy Women's History Month. Every March, we take time to remember and celebrate the women who have made this country and our world special. I'm Representative Deborah Ross from Wake County, North Carolina, the 2nd Congressional District. And let me tell you, I was so inspired as a young woman by one of the first female governors in this country, Ella Grasso, when I grew up in Connecticut. I also had a member of Congress, a female member of Congress in Barbara Kennelly. But when I grew up, that was not the case. And it is so important that we encourage women and girls to be active in every field, whether it's in politics, being the first African-American Supreme Court Justice, African-American female Supreme Court Justice, in the sciences, and in our communities. We need to honor what women have done and set the example for generations of the future. It's so important to have a month to honor and commemorate women, but we really need to be doing this every day of the year. Happy Women's History Month.
Thank you to all the Congresswomen for joining us and for your leadership. It is now my privilege to introduce our next speaker. As a senator, she has championed policies that put the needs of women and girls front and center. As a leader, she is a powerful reminder of the importance of persisting. Senator Elizabeth Warren.
Hello, everyone. I sure wish that we could be celebrating Women's History Month together in person, but I'm really excited to have a chance to join you over video. As we close out March, there is so much that we can look back on and celebrate. A record number of women are in critical policy and decision-making positions in this administration, in Congress, and at all levels of government. Let's face it, women get stuff done. And while we celebrate the successes that your hard work in 2020 made possible, we know there's a whole lot more we need to do. We have to get women back to work. And Democrats are fighting to ensure that mothers have access to high-quality, affordable childcare. You know, this is really an economic problem. This is about getting women back into the workforce and the high cost of childcare that is the biggest barrier that these women now face. This is personal for me. When I was a young mother with 2 kids, I was about an inch away from quitting my job when my Aunt Bee saved me by moving in and helping with childcare. So many mothers are hanging on by their fingernails, but they don't have an Aunt Bee. These mothers need us to deliver on childcare. Together, I know we can get this done. It is an honor to fight alongside you. Thank you, and happy Women's History Month.
Thank you, Senator Warren, for joining us tonight and for that incredible reminder of both what we're fighting for and the difference any one woman can make in someone's life. Thank you so very, very much. Now it is my privilege to introduce a special message from a woman redefining her current role, not only for herself, but for all who will follow. First Lady Jill Biden.
From soft lullabies to battle cries for justice, women nurse and nurture, teach and build, lead and dream our world forward each and every day. Women have never been silent, but women have been silenced. And that's because our voices are powerful. When we raise them, we can tear down injustice, topple tyrants and demagogues, and shatter the shields of oppression. This International Women's Day, we honor women throughout the world who courageously use their voice, no matter the cost. To our sisters from Ukraine who are fighting to keep their country free and their families alive, we stand with you in solidarity. To our sisters in Russia who are protesting and speaking out against the invasion at great personal risk, we see your courage. And to women warriors around the world, those fighting for justice and working for change, thank you for building a better future for all of us.
Thank you, First Lady. While International Women's Day is just one day a year, women do lead our world forward each and every day. As the first woman, first Black woman, and first Southeast Asian woman to serve as Vice President, Vice President Harris is not only an example for future generations of leaders, but she's a bold leader working to ensure women and girls in this country and all around the world that they too have a brighter future. It is my honor to introduce our next special message from Vice President Kamala Harris.
Happy International Women's Day. You know, the future of our nation and the future of our world is being built by women and girls. It is being built by the scientists whose discoveries drive progress, and by the entrepreneurs whose innovations enable prosperity, by the teachers who educate the next generation of leaders, and by the mothers, the grandmothers, and the aunts who raise those young leaders. It is being built by the artists who help us imagine a better world, and by the activists, the organizers, and the community leaders who are fighting every day to make that world a reality. Since we took office, our administration has worked closely with so many of you to ensure that women and girls in all corners of our world can determine their own future and our collective path forward. Together, we passed the American Rescue Plan and the Bipartisan Infrastructure Law to deliver immediate relief to women and families and to ensure equitable access to good-paying jobs. Together, we convened the first ever White House Day of Action on Maternal Health to ensure that we treat maternal mortality as the crisis it is. And we are doing everything in our power to defend a woman's right to make decisions about her body and to determine her future. Last year, our administration repealed the global gag rule to ensure wider access to reproductive health information and services. With your support and guidance, 1 year ago, our administration founded the White House Gender Policy Council to promote gender equity and equality both at home and abroad. And today, we are fighting together to confirm Judge Katanji Brown Jackson to the United States Supreme Court. She will be the first Black woman to sit on our nation's highest court, and this will be the first time in history that there will be 4 women on that court. This International Women's Day, I thank you for everything you do and everything you will continue to do in our collective fight for equity and equality, because we know that for our world to be safe, strong, and prosperous, all women and girls, no matter where they live, must have the opportunity to succeed. Again, thank you and take care.
I hope you all are feeling as inspired as I am right now. While Women's History Month may be coming to a close, this is only the beginning of our work. In 2018, women were a historic force in the midterm elections, and it is time for us to do it again. Over the next several months, the DNC will be continuing to provide the trainings and the tools to organize your community in ways that work for you, because now is the time to start organizing for November and beyond. So join me in signing up to host your own phone bank today. It is as easy as clicking the button on your screen. Together, we can share how Democrats are winning for working families and get our message out ahead of the midterm elections.
Thank you, Gabriella. We know women mobilize their communities. The 2022 midterm cycle is critical for the issues we care about most. So thank you for joining us tonight. Thank you for joining us in the weeks and months ahead. Whether you joined us as a social ambassador, or you get involved in Democrats' care events, or you start phone banking with your friends, everything makes a difference. Have a great night and happy Women's History Month.